Hello, Jaguar students. It's your friendly neighborhood math teacher, Mr. Allred, and I would like to be the first to welcome you to our journey in Unit 3. In Unit 3, we'll talk about things called ratios and proportions, okay? And this is a really cool part of our school year because we're going to get the chance to look at some maps and some scale drawings. We'll get a chance to do some geometry and look at some similar figures and shapes, and we'll be able to actually tell the height of a tree just by looking at a person and their shadow. So some pretty cool things are going to happen in this unit. And it's going to lead us into usually what my kids' favorite unit is, percents, and Unit 4, when we get to talk about tax and tip and commission and interest and lots of talk about money. Kids usually like that unit. But we can't do that fun unit until we do this also fun unit. So this is Unit 3. Our first mini lesson is ratios and rates. And by the end of today's mini lesson, you should be able to determine unit rates and use them to compare different situations. So let's get ready to rock and roll. Here we go. This is your first entry in your brand new table of contents about Unit 3, ratios and proportions. And this is Unit 3, mini lesson 1, called ratios and rates. Let's get ready to start by putting entry number 1 on the top right-hand side of our page, of our paper. And then let's get started. Ratio, a ratio, that's the big vocab word here in this unit. We're going to use this word a lot, and we're definitely going to need to know what this word means and definitely what some of the other words in this mini lesson mean. A ratio is simply a comparison of two different numbers by division. So what it does is it compares two different numbers by division. For example, if I knew that my first period had 12 boys and 9 girls, then I could write a ratio of that information just like this. You've probably seen one before. I could write 12 boys with a colon to 9 girls, or I could simplify that ratio just like I simplify a fraction by dividing the first and second number both by 3. And that's the same thing as saying 4 boys for every 3 girls. Okay? There are 3 different ways to write ratios. You can write them as a colon, 4 apples to 6 bananas. You could write them with the word to in between, 4 apples to 6 bananas, or you might write them as a fraction with a numerator and denominator, 4 apples to 6 bananas. So ratios are 2 different numbers compared by division, and we're going to use them a lot here in this mini lesson to solve lots of different kinds of problems. They have lots of different connections to many different things in the world, and we'll talk about that when we watch our unit opener video tomorrow in class. Okay? Ratios lead to rates. A rate is a ratio of 2 quantities with different units. If you don't know what a quantity is just a number. So it's a ratio of 2 numbers with different units. And you must include units when you write rates. So for example, okay, if for some reason I ate 12 hot dogs in 2 hours, I would probably need to be hospitalized with some kind of, for lack of a better word, for pooping a lot. But also, I would have a rate of 12 hot dogs for 2 hours, 12 hot dogs to 2 hours. Okay? Lots of times if you say, hey, Mr. Art ate 12 hot dogs in 2 hours, people might not really be sure how intense and disgusting that is. So what you can do is you can use a unit rate to better explain to them, because what a unit rate does is it helps us understand what the rate is more clearly. And the reason it does that is because it simplifies the denominator to 1. Okay? The way it does that is it uses division. Okay, so we simplify our denominator to 1 to find a unit rate. For example, if I had biked 75 miles in 3 hours, I could write it as a rate and call it 75 miles over 3 hours. But if I wanted to be really specific and tell people just how fast I was going, I would need to divide 75 by 3 and get 25 miles per hour, per 1 hour. Okay, if I knew that there were 112 students on this team, and only 4 teachers, then I could find the unit rate for students per teacher by doing 112 divided by 4, which happens to be 28, And then I could write a nice, simple rate, a unit rate that says, hey, there's 28 students per teacher or per one teacher. So a lot of times you hear miles per hour or meters per second or cost dollar per square inch. Those are all unit rates, and they are found just like this. If you biked 36 miles in 4 hours, you would have a rate of 36 miles to 4 hours. But how would you find the unit rate? I want you to try it and tell Edpuzzle what you got. Awesome job, especially if you got 9 miles per hour. Our friend Ben was biking at 9 miles per hour there, so he wasn't going quite as fast as I was because I am the goat. Yes. Weed killer mixes 11 tablespoons of soap with 2 quarts of water. So you could say 11 tablespoons of soap for 2 quarts of water. That might be your rate, but how would you find that unit rate? It's okay to use a calculator here, and you can do 11 divided by 2. I want you to try it and see what you get as the unit rate. Hopefully you got 5.5 tablespoons per quart. Okay. If you got those 2 questions right, you're probably feeling pretty good right about now. I hope you're feeling pretty good right about now because on the back of your paper is this awesome activity, okay, called Best Buy. And I ain't talking about Best Buy electronics store. I'm talking about finding the best price at different grocery stores. That's right. Everybody needs food. Everybody goes grocery shopping. So everybody does math when they go grocery shopping. What you've got is you've got some coupons there at your next station when you come to class tomorrow. One of your stations will be to look at the back of this mini lesson. You're going to need these coupons. I'm going to start you off with this first one. It's talking about Kroger. And at Kroger, you can buy 9-ounce bags of Fritos or Cheetos for $2.29. So if I wanted to find the unit rate, first I would write it as a rate that says $2.29 per 9 ounces. And I'm going to leave you with a question. How could I do what I just did on the other side to find unit rate, to find the unit rate for price per ounce of these bags of Fritos and Cheetos? Tell Edpuzzle what you think, and then it's going to ask you one more question. And after that, I think you've done just enough homework for a Monday. So I want you to stop working, okay, on your notes because you can't really do more because you don't have the coupons yet. So I've prevented you from doing more work. You're welcome, okay? Remember that of all my students I've ever taught, you are one of them. And I hope you enjoyed this mini lesson about ratios and rates. I hope you learned something. Okay. Remember to make it a great day or not. The choice is yours. Thank you.